welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. Today I am looking at the Fifth Doctor, as played by Peter Davison. So let's look at the articulation. The head can turn, mine's very stiff, it doesn't really want to move at all, but it can turn slightly. Shoulder articulation can go all the way around on either side. You have articulation at the biceps, that can do 360. And the wrists can do 360s as well. The waist can turn slightly, but nothing major. Articulation at the hips, at the thighs, they can do a 360 as well. And you've got articulation at the knees. Now let's look at the detail of the figure. Well, very nice sculpt for Peter Davison's head. Obviously him. They've captured his likeness very well. The hair's all very good. Even keeping the sideburns in there. It's not overly obvious, but it's a nice touch. And the hair's been done very well, having a dark colour on the bottom and then the blonde sort of put over the top. The shirt is based off of his first 2 seasons, with the red insides. Not sure about the button. I can't ever recall it being a big red button there, but could be, not sure. And the question marks on the collar as well. Unfortunately, because of the coat, you can't see it brilliantly. Which is a shame. The coat's very good. They've got the red trim on the lapels and on the coat, on the pockets. The buttons there. They've even made small indentations for where the buttons should hook in. And the pocket flaps, and then the bit at the back. There should be 2 buttons on the back there. Not sure why they didn't add it on. I mean, they added the buttons here on the wrists, and of course on the front, but never mind. The jumper, the sculpt for that is very impressive. You can see all the creases sort of here and there, which look very nice, but the actual texture of it is fantastic. You can really sort of see that sort of woolen texture going on there, and all down there. The colour for the jumper is slightly wrong. For some reason they've got red, and like a bluey, blacky colour. I don't know why they've done that. That top one should be brown. Should be brown, red, then that colour. Not sure why they did that. The trousers, very good. The pattern is very similar to in the series. Apparently they couldn't get it exactly the same because it's such a complicated pattern to try and fit it on such a small scale. Just would be impossible. So, and the trainers are very nice. You've got like little, you can see all the folds and the flaps and like little air holes and stuff on the trainer. Bit of dirt sort of scuffed on the front, not as much as the Time Crash version, which I thought was slightly excessive anyway, but a nice touch just to give it like a worn feel to it. And of course this figure comes with a sonic screwdriver that he used up until the Visitation, where it got destroyed by one of the Pteroleptils. But I think you all know what I'm going to say. Where's the celery? Now, when I first saw the pictures of this figure, it was prototype pictures. That's what they always release, and prototypes always usually look slightly better than the actual things because they're on a bigger scale. They're a bigger scale than the actual figure itself, and they're hand painted, so they can get in more details and things like that. And that's sort of lost when it comes to the normal figure. But when I first saw the pictures and I got over the excitement of seeing them, I realised that he didn't have his celery on his lapel. Now, at first, I sort of dismissed it and thought, well, it's just a prototype. Obviously, they haven't done it for the figure yet, perhaps. It'll obviously be on the actual toy. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be the case, because the guys at Character Options said, no celery. Now, Peter Davison wore that celery in every single story apart from Castrovalva. So their excuse was, oh, well, we changed our minds and we've based this figure on his appearance in Castrovalva, because he doesn't wear the celery until right at the end of the story. Right, fair enough. The original plan for this figure was it was going to be based on his final season costume, i.e. with the green trim inside the shirt, the different jumper with the sort of red and black thick stripes there and going across, and the different trousers, different pattern, the same pattern that's actually on the Time Crash figure. Yeah, that's something they messed up for the Children Need special, but I'll come to that another time. But the reason why there isn't celery on the lapel isn't because they thought, well, let's base it off Castrovalva. Basically, the head of the Doctor Who section at Character Options basically said, well, I never liked the celery of Peter Davison's costume. I always thought it looked stupid, and I always thought it was a sign of Doctor Who going down the plug hole back in the 80s. So I thought it was stupid, and I thought it always looked stupid, so I wasn't going to put it on the figure. And the BBC weren't particularly fussed either, so no, we're not going to stick it on the figure, because it looks stupid. Now, this is just ridiculous. To be totally honest, that isn't his decision to make. Not really. Alright, he is the guy who's in charge of what figures come out, but you can't just pick and choose what parts of the costume you can and can't have. I mean, imagine not releasing Tom Baker without with his scarf. Imagine you got a Tom Baker figure and he never had his scarf. That would never happen. Well, unless you're Dapol, but we'll forget about that. And the thing is, it doesn't end just with Peter Davison's celery, because as we all know, Wave 2 is said to have Sylvester McCoy. Well, for some reason, they're basing the figure on his last season in his brown jacket. Fine, that's probably Sylvester McCoy's best season, when the character got a lot darker than his second season. So, yeah, I can understand why they chose that one. Basing the sculpt off of Ghostlight, right, without his hat and umbrella.